The Agricultural Labor Relations Board is now called to order. Please note that all meeting participants and members of the public will need to select their preferred language for the meeting. We do have a Spanish interpreter for this meeting. If you look at the bottom of your screen within the Zoom application, and you look on the right-hand side, you are able to select either English or Spanish. Even if you are able to easily hear me now, in order to hear me participate in the meeting properly and be able to hear the meeting throughout, please select a language. Next, I will turn to the roll. Board Member Broad.
Here.
Board Member Flores.
Present.
Board Member Hall. And I think I may see Board Member Hall on mute. Moving ahead, Board Member Hall. Okay, Board Member Lightstone.
Here.
Thank you. Also present today is our Executive Secretary, Santiago Avila Gomez, and our Assistant to the Chair, Ed Haas, who will be assisting us with this meeting. As we all know, hello? As we all know, we are still living with the COVID pandemic, and in order to ensure the health and safety of not only our staff, but also members of the public, we are holding this meeting via video conference under Governor Newsom's Executive Order N2920. At the close of this meeting, there will be the opportunity for public comment. If you wish to participate in public comment, please contact the board either via email or phone and ask to be placed in the comment queue, and you will be called on in the order received. If you did not previously reach out to the board and request to speak in public comment, that is okay. We still welcome your participation. And please let Santiago Avila Gomez know by either saying that you want to be placed in the queue in the Zoom chat feature or raising your hand in the Zoom chat feature. You can also email him at you can also email Santiago Avila Gomez as well. And these instructions and the contact information are listed on our agenda, which is on the ALRB website at alrb.ca.gov. If you're having any technical difficulties, please let us know and we will work to make sure that we are able to have you participate in this meeting. We do have limited capabilities for managing public participation, and I do ask in order to improve the quality of the meeting for all that you please mute yourself while either on the computer or on the phone unless you are speaking. And again, these instructions are also listed on our agenda. We'll turn now to the first order of business, which is approval of the Member Lightstone.
I think Member Hall is back with us. He's on mute, but you might.
Okay, Member Hall, are you here? Okay, I think I see that he is here, but I think he's just having some technical difficulties, so we'll continue on, but thank you.
Yes, Madam Chair, I'm present.
Oh, hi, Member Hall, good to hear you, good to hear you. Thank you.
Likewise.
All right,
Madam
we'll move
Chair,
on.
Madam Chair, real quickly, it appears that I'm having some technical difficulties, so I'm going in and out of.
Okay, thank you for letting us know. I hope those improve, and we'll. I appreciate the heads up. Moving on to the next agenda item, we have the public meeting minutes from our October 13, 2020 meeting. I'd like to, may I have a motion to approve those minutes?
So moved.
So, second.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. On to the second item is approval of the meeting minutes of our regional directors meeting from October 13th, 2020. May I have a motion to approve the regional director meeting minutes?
So moved.
All in favor?
Second.
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Okay, next turning to our third item, the chair's report. It's a fairly short report. I am very pleased to say that as we have been keeping the public apprised throughout the summer and the fall, we committed in June to have all ALRB staff participate in an implicit and unconscious bias training. This was something that was very important to our entire executive team, as well as to many of our staff members, to ensure that not only are we creating an inclusive, collaborative, and positive work environment, for across the ALRB, across the state, that we are also ensuring we are doing our best to serve the stakeholders that we serve. And so I'm happy to report that all of our staff participated in this training on November 12th and 13th. It was a multi-day training, multi-hour training. And I really want to thank the staff for taking their time to participate and also to fully engage. I thought it was a very enjoyable experience, and we're looking to carry the lessons of that training forward throughout our work, both internally as well as externally. I also want to note that the board does have a few vacancies. We have a few vacant positions on the board side. If you are interested in applying, or you know others that may be interested, we have an associate government program analyst position available in Sacramento, as well as 2 legal secretary positions in Sacramento that we are recruiting for. Please go to Cal Careers online in order to apply, or share with those that you think may be interested. Lastly, I want to take a moment to thank all of my colleagues, my board members, as well as all of the staff, the general counsel staff, our admin staff, all the staff in our regional offices for all of their hard work this year. This has been the first time in a long time where the board has had a full complement. It's certainly been a year like no other, not just at the ALRB, but in all of our personal and professional lives. And I've been so impressed by the dedication, the enthusiasm, the perseverance, and the creativity of all of our staff. And I just want to give a very sincere thank you here at our last meeting of the year, and just acknowledge all of that hard work that has been going on. It's been very meaningful, and I think we've been able to continue to serve the public in a powerful way. And I'm so appreciative of that and all of your efforts. That concludes the chair's report. I will next move on to the next agenda item, which is the executive officer's report on elections, unfair labor practice complaints, and hearings. Mr. Santiago Avila Gomez.
Thank you, Chair Hasid, members of the board. Since the board's last public meeting on October 13th, we've had no election activity. There have been no notices of intent to take access, notices of intent to organize, or petitions for certification or decertification filed. There have been 4 complaints issued. The first in Pacific Reserve Nursery, filed on November 25th, involving cannabis in Monterey County. The second, Dominguez Farms and Man Packing Company, filed also November 25th, involving broccolini in Monterey County. Third, Santa Rosa Berry Farms, filed November 12th, involving strawberry in Ventura County. And 4, C&G Farms, Inc., filed October 26th, involving cabbage, broccoli, and cauliflower in Monterey County. There have been 2 post-complaint settlements, both involving Yurgat Packing Incorporated, where the parties entered into an informal bilateral settlement agreement. I'll note that while not listed on the report, on November 25th, the General Counsel informed the adjudication unit that a settlement has been reached in Satellite Farms. There have been no in-person or virtual hearings held, while there have been some teleconferences held in the matters involving pre-hearing conferences, case management conferences, and a settlement conference. There have been no administrative law judge or board decisions issued, while there have been 4 administrative orders issued. 1 in Premier Raspberries, and I failed to mention that this report is available at our website at alrb.ca.gov. Under the meetings link, you can find this report and others. Returning to the board administrative orders that have issued: Premier Raspberries, admin order number 20, issued. United Farm Workers of America, admin order 2020-19. Premier Raspberries again, 2020-18P designating that it was precedential. It was an order denying a regional director's request for an order sealing statement in support of formal bilateral settlement agreement. And 4th, John DeGroot and Sun Dairy, and that was admin order 2020-17. Cases currently pending board decision or action are Ocean Mist Farms, where a briefing was completed on October 14th, 2020, involving spinach in Riverside County, and Premier Raspberries, which was clarification was filed in that matter on December 3rd, pursuant to the board's request to the R regional director to clarify a term in the submitted formal bilateral settlement agreement. So that is pending board decision and involves Raspberries in Santa Cruz County. That concludes my report. Again, this is available at our website as well as the various admin orders that I mentioned. Thank you.
Thank you, Santiago. Any questions from my fellow board members? Any questions from any members of the public? Okay, thank you. Moving on to the next agenda item, litigation report from Senior Board Counsel Todd Ratchin. Todd?
Thank you. Good morning. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay, always just want to make sure I have the volume correct on this thing. So there is a report I've prepared that's available on the board's website covering litigation updates since the board's last public meeting in October. The most notable event we have to report is that on November 13th, the United States Supreme Court in the case of Cedar Point Nursery versus Hasid granted the growers' petition for writ of certiorari to review the growers' claims that the board's access regulation affects a per se taking by appropriating an easement over their properties. Deadlines to note are that the petitioner's opening brief on the merits will be due December 28th. The board's opposition brief on the merits will be due 30 days after the opening brief is filed. Amicus briefs in support of either party will be due 7 days after the filing of the brief of the party whom they are filing in support of. And the court has indicated it will be placing the matter on its calendar for oral arguments in the February calendar, which falls on the last week of February or the first week of March. And that covers the report for now.
Thank you, Todd. Any questions from my colleagues? Any questions from members of the public? Okay, thank you. Moving on to our next agenda item, our General Counsel, Julie Montgomery, will be providing the General Counsel's report.
Good morning, board members, everyone.
Morning.
Good to see you. So I wanted to just start my report by mentioning that we have a couple of positions posted. We have a attorney 3 position that was just posted yesterday. That is a position to provide support for the entire general counsel program. And that can be based anywhere in the state. So, so if you know of anybody, they can work remote and be, as long as they're within a half day's driving distance of one of our offices. So please check out that posting online. We're looking for someone with litigation experience, labor law experience, research and writing, hoping to get somebody great to fill that position. We also have an attorney position posted in Visalia as well. So there's some opportunities for some folks to join our wonderful general counsel program. And there'll be more to follow, 1 or 2 more to follow soon. With that, I'll move on to just talking about a few highlights of settlements, as I think most people on this call know that a lot of the work in the general counsel's office doesn't actually reach the board because we investigate cases and sometimes settle them even before a complaint is filed or after a complaint is filed, before there's a hearing and before anything is adjudicated by one of our administrative law judges or the board. So during these meetings, I like to take the opportunity to just talk about a few of the things we've accomplished. Our executive secretary mentioned a settlement against Yergat or with Yergat Packing Company, and they have operations of grape fleet picking in Fresno and Madera counties. And in that case, some workers came to the ALRB and filed a charge that they had complained about malfunctioning toilets, disrespectful foremen, and problems with one of the box checkers. Give them credit for their piece rate boxes, and they felt this person was not competent and correctly rejecting workers' boxes, resulting in pay reductions to the workers. So they complained to their employer about that and also engaged in a work stoppage. And then 5 workers were terminated thereafter, and they received a letter from the company that stated their employment was terminated for stirring people up, which is a loose translation of the Spanish term in the letter. And so the general counsel's office, we actually sought injunctive relief in that case in Fresno County to try to get the workers back to work for the 2020 grape leaf season. They were fired during the 2019 season, and that season was in the spring. And so we wanted to be able to get them back to work. We filed a request for injunctive relief with the Fresno County Superior Court. Unfortunately, it was during the court closures and the beginning of the lockdowns for COVID, and a judge decided that it wasn't urgent enough to schedule for hearing, given all the, everything going on. And so we were not able to get the hearing scheduled, and it couldn't get on the court's calendar before the end of the grape leaf picking season. So by then, there was no need for injunctive relief because there was no work to go back to. So that was unfortunate. But the good news is we did file a complaint. The case was set for hearing, and we did get a settlement in which the employer offered reinstatement to the 5 workers for the 2021 season. And these were very long-term workers, many of which had worked there since the mid-90s. So they had worked there every season since the 90s. So, it was very steady work for them. So we're happy that they have the opportunity to return if they wish for 2021. We also got full back pay for them to compensate them for the wages they lost during the 2020 season. And I believe that amount was $13,838 for the 5 workers. And then we also got, or the employer agreed to, reading, posting, mailing, and supervisor training. So we're hopeful that we can train the personnel at that company so that things like this don't happen in the future, and they know that it is unlawful to terminate people for instigating collective action. So that was a positive result. We also received a couple of other settlements since the last board meeting. We had an informal settlement for a pre-complaint case regarding Ford, or involving Ford Spraying Inc., which is located in Tulare County, where workers complained about an unjust disciplinary ticket, and they got together to ask for a raise, and they were terminated. And we obtained a settlement for back pay of a little over $5,100 for the workers, reading, posting, mailing, and supervisor training in that as well. And then we also achieved a settlement involving Satakoy Berry Farms, and they're a strawberry picker or strawberry operation in Ventura County, and a strawberry picker filed a charge alleging he was retaliated against after he complained together with his coworkers about lack of access to drinking water. And he alleged that he was thereafter given less favorable work assignments and had been bullied at work. And so the company agreed to not interfere with employees' rights, to not retaliate, and against workers for engaging in collective action. And they agreed to a reading, noticing, mailing, and posting in that case as well. So those are some of our settlements. And we do have a couple of others which are being finalized. And so there will hopefully be more to come before the end of the year. So I now want to move on just to talk a little bit about what the General Counsel program has been doing for outreach. So as you all know, we have a ongoing collaboration for outreach work with our Labor Workforce Development Agency, Department of Industrial Relations, and the Employment Development Department. And that is a project that was launched in July and is ongoing. Our Deputy General Counsel, Silas Shaver, is is taking the lead on collaborating and coordinating with our labor agency and the other departments to get systems set up so that we can better coordinate our outreach efforts, messaging in the media, and outreach to the agricultural community, farm workers in particular. And we're also doing targeted outreach regarding workplace rights and COVID. And there are a number of efforts on that front in this project, and also in the right to sick pay, which I know is set to expire in December, hopefully be extended. But we have been conducting media outreach on these issues. We've done several radio presentations. Santiago Ventura, who's one of our field examiners in our one of our outreach coordinators in Visalia, he and I appeared on a radio program, I think it was Radio Láser in Tulare County the other week. And we had some folks also appear on the same program in Ventura County, and we did a Facebook Live interview. Our regional director in Visalia, Chris Schneider, and some of the Visalia staff conducted an appearance on Univision on Spanish language television in the Fresno area. And so we've been working with media outlets to get information out. We've also opened up our 800 line, the ALRB's 800 line statewide for farm workers to call for questions and needs regarding workplace-related COVID issues or other workplace-related questions or concerns. And we have staff available on standby to answer questions and connect people with resources so that farm workers can get assistance and not try to navigate the confusing waters of state bureaucracy, but they can just call our 800 number and we'll provide that assistance. And we have received an uptick in calls to the 800 number since it was launched around August. However, we are hoping that it is more utilized going forward because we know that there's a great need out there. Other good news is that we have hired an outreach manager and communications director, and she is actually here with us today. Her name is Daniela Ramirez, and she started at the ALRB about a month ago. And we do have 2 additional staff members who will be joining Daniela, one which will start, Erica Flores, who will start in the Visalia region, Visalia office in a little over a week. And then we're finalizing our process for the Salinas outreach specialist. And we hope to have that person also on board very soon. And so Daniela has a rich background working with farm workers and farm worker groups. She's the former executive director of Líderes Campesinas. She was also a project coordinator at an organization called House Farm Workers located in Ventura. She has also founded and managed a tourism business, and she was an advisor or has been an advisor for the Center for Responsible Tourism in Chihuahua, Mexico. And she has a background in media relations and also as a video producer and documentary filmmaker. And so we are very excited about the expertise and resources Daniela brings to the ALRB, and she's going to assist us in our efforts to improve our outreach delivery and communications as a board. So we're very fortunate to have Daniela. And so I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to Daniela to just say a few words, and so you can meet her and hear from her directly.
Thank you so much for the invitation today and to be able to address the board and the public. I'm really excited to be newly on board with ALRB and in this position as Outreach Program Manager. As Julie mentioned, I've been working with Indigenous people in Mexico. I'm actually an anthropologist and have a master's degree, and was there particularly interested in sustainable development projects and had the opportunity of really worked with groups of people who were looking to improve their economic position in a way that needed to be really culturally sensitive. So, and it was something very new in the region. So I was lucky to have been part of that in terms of doing training and funding and really consulting on that project. And then, as mentioned, Julie, that I was also worked with different community-based organizations, including ones just directed with farm workers. We did training with service providers as well, and we're always looking for ways to increase outreach and increase our effectiveness across the state with farm workers. So I'm really happy to be here today. I'm looking forward to developing and this new training and promotional materials that I'll be working with the ALRB executive team in general to improve the communication strategy. And so I'm looking forward to the team coming on board. We have one person that's coming on this month and another person shortly after that. I've already done some radio interview with a local attorney here in Ventura County. Have been working on getting that COVID guide out. The importance of getting all that information out right now, kind of in a timely manner. Looking at some of the food distributions that are happening, that are directed at farm workers and are really large events. That are happening, monthly and weekly almost across the state. And so I'm really just looking forward to getting out there, meeting the other offices as well, and enhancing our outreach efforts. So thank you very much, and I'm looking forward to meeting you all in person at some point.
Thank you so much, Daniela, and welcome to the board. We're thrilled to have you. I had the opportunity to sit down with you and get to know you a little bit a couple of weeks ago, but really wanted the opportunity for the rest of my colleagues to have the chance to meet you, as well as some of our stakeholders that are participating. So I'd love to open it up to any of my board members if you have any questions or comments.
This is Cynthia. Welcome to the team, and we're so excited to have you.
I'm joining us. Delightful to see you. So thank you.
Board Member Rod, I think you're still on mute.
Welcome to the team.
Yeah. Welcome from me as well. And it's long past due. We really need you. So glad you're here.
Thank you very much, all of you.
Thank you so much, Daniela. And we're thrilled to have you here. I think when we advertise for these positions, you don't really know how big a candidate pool is. It feels like you have so much of a skill set that I couldn't have even dreamed up. And it's really amazing. And so I think you're going to really help us be more effective and really improve the way we communicate with our stakeholders. So just absolutely thrilled to have you here. Any other questions or comments for either Daniela or the General Counsel on her report? Okay, well, thank you both. Thank you, Julie. Thank you, Daniela. Pleasure to see you both. I'll move on to our next agenda item, which is our administrative report from our Chief of Administrative Services, Brian Dougherty. Brian?
Good morning. Just have a few brief updates, mostly focusing around the budget. I did release kind of the budget highlights for the current year budget, which is budget year 2021. We're currently, our budget is approximately $11.8 million for the full fiscal year. Through the first quarter of this fiscal year, which is expenditures through the month of September, we spent approximately $3.2 million. I've had my administrative team kind of do a quick and dirty projection to kind of see where we were at as far as our expenditure patterns go for the rest of the fiscal year. We just basically made the assumptions of based on all the staff that are on board right now and made some assumptions on the current recruitments that we have that are underway. We kind of projected out for the rest of the fiscal year, and we anticipate that we should have about a $756,000 surplus, mainly due to a lot of the expenditure reduction controls that are in place as a result of the budget letters that have been issued by the Department of Finance that have reduced expenditures. We are also, as part of that report that I've provided, kind of outline all of our expenditures by category to lay out all the contracts that we currently have in place, as well as past year expenditure information for your reference as well. The other thing to be aware of on the budgetary front is on November 3rd, the Department of Finance released budget letter 20-37, which was the ongoing expenditure reduction budget letter that we were anticipating, which is targeting a statewide operating expense and equipment reduction for all departments of 5%. Each department is responsible for putting together a permanent reduction in operating expense and equipment for this 5% target. And in the case of ALRB, that would be approximately about a $200,000 annual reduction. So we're currently working on kind of putting together some recommendations for both the board and GC to review on how we can go about achieving that reduction. The plan itself is due to the Department of Finance no later than February 1st. And with that, then we have also completed the development of our budget for ALRB that will be included as part of the governor's budget that will be released on January 10th. So once that budget is formally released, I'll be able to share in more detail the information that was included for ALRB. So with that, if there's any questions, I'd be happy to answer.
Thank you, Brian. I just want to say thank you to you and your team for all the work that you've done to kind of make sure we have everything that we need in this unusual budget time and for keeping us on track. So I really appreciate all of that. Any questions for Brian from my fellow board members? Members of the public? Okay, well, thank you, Brian. Appreciate that report. Next is the next agenda item is our regulations agenda item. And several meetings ago, we formed a regulations subcommittee to start a review of our regulations to see what might need to be updated. But I'd like to turn it to our regulations subcommittee, and I believe board member Lightstone will be speaking for the committee.
Thank you. So since that announcement, Member Broad and I have been reviewing the regulations from the perspective of improving our processes. One of the things I wanted to point out today is that in our prior board meetings, we've been inviting the public to send their input to Executive Secretary Santiago Avila Gomez. I don't think we've received any so far, but I want to renew that request and suggest that folks send their input and ideas for improving our processes to Secretary Avila Gomez. And also, we're looking at scheduling a workshop in the next few months where we would invite, I was going to say in person, but we could probably do it on Zoom or some version of this. We'll invite stakeholders to give their suggestions directly. But in the meantime, we would encourage people to send their input.
Great, thank you. Any other comments or questions from my colleagues? Any questions from any members of the public? Okay, thank you, Member Lightstone, and thank you, Member Broad, for all of your work on this, and we'll continue to look forward to hearing the updates. The next agenda item is our legislative report. Any reports on legislation? Turning it over to Senior Counsel Todd Ratchin.
Thank you. There are no updates concerning any legislative activity with respect to the Agricultural Labor Relations Act right now to report.
Thank you, Todd. Our next agenda item is the personnel report. There are no personnel items to report at this time. With that, I would like to open it up for general public comment and see if there's any questions or comments from members of the public.
No one pending in the queue, Chair.
Thank you. Okay, well, with that, I will go to our next agenda item, which is announcements. We do not have our meeting schedule finalized for next year, but we are hoping to develop that and post that on our website by the end of the year, and looking to have maintain the more frequent occurrence of meetings pending further discussion with the board. So again, want to just thank my colleagues, all of the staff that have helped make these meetings, I think, very successful and really increased our participation, as well as all the hard work that you've been doing. And with that, this meeting of the Agricultural Labor Relations Board is adjourned. Thank you so much.
Happy New Year, everybody.
Thank you, everybody.